Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video, and we are still on the OP-05 Awakening of the New Era set review or preview or spoilers, whatever you want to call them. So today we're going to be going over the purple cards. So let's go ahead and hop straight into it. Don't wait, and we don't want to waste any time. First up is Monkey D. Luffy, the leader, which a lot of these cards are going to be built around this leader. So it's important to go over this first before we go any further. Excuse me, guys. Alright, sorry. So 5 life, 5,000 power, just like a normal monocolored leader. He's purple, Straw Hat Crew. With the effect of activate main once per turn, you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Okay, and if you have 0 or 3 or more Dawn cards on your field, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So this is just going to be a nice way to ramp very quickly to 8 or 10 Dawn to drop down some big characters, right? Ideally, I think that's the idea. Okay, that's the best case scenario. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Okay, so first up is USO Hachi. 3 cost, 4,000 power, 2,000 counter. Purple Straw Hat Crew character with the effect of Dawn ×1 when attacking, so it swings for 5k. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, okay, so just like we were saying, ramping to 8 Dawn, 9 Dawn, 10 Dawn as fast as possible. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters that cost 4 or less. That's a pretty decent 2k counter effect, but let's just be honest, generally speaking, it's going to be a 2k counter. So we'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is just fine. Okay, next up is Onami. This is a 1 cost, 1,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple Straw Hat Crew character. Okay, and it looks like a conditional blocker effect. If you have 10 Dawn cards on your field, this character gains blocker. Yikes. Okay, so not ideal, and I never recommend something that's this situational for something as serious as needing a blocker. Because we're running purple, purple has a lot of cards that bounce Dawn back, so that you can do overpowered abilities, right? Like really super cheap costed abilities, because you're returning Dawn as like a way to mitigate how overpowered the effect might be at that cost, right? That's the logic behind it. Well, if you ever go under your Dawn on your turn, where you're not going to be back up to 10 Dawn until your next turn, well, this character's not even going to be a blocker then, and then it's just a 1 cost 1k. I gotta go with I'm gonna go with a 3.5 out of 10 on this. Y'all tell me if I'm missing anything. As usual, if I'm ever missing some factor, or if I overlooked maybe some text or something, just tell me. Mention it in the comment section below. Overall, though, this art is very nice. This art looks really cool. I love the style. This is excellent. Okay, but as far as the card itself goes, I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 10. Pretty disappointing, pretty underwhelming. Okay, next up is Orabi. This is a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple Straw Hat Crew character. With the effect of, on play, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So 4 cost, 5k that KOs a 3 or less if you have 8 or more Dawn cards, has a 1k counter. This is fine. I think this is a little better than average, probably about a 6.5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy, but it is a pretty nice little card here with a decent effect. I think this is just fine. I give this a 6.5 out of 10. Okay. Killer, 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter. That looks just like a searcher to me. Purple Kid Pirates with the effect of, on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Kid Pirates type card other than Killer, can't find itself, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. So yeah, this is just your standard 1 cost searcher card here for Kid Pirates. I'm going to go with just a 7 out of 10. It's just a nice 7 out of 10. San Goru. Okay, this is a 6 cost, 8,000 power, 1,000 counter vanilla character. So we're going to go with a 5 out of 10. Straw Hat Crew searchable, just a nice 6 cost, 8k vanilla. Alright, next up we got Jinbei, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter, blocker. This is a nice stat line. We've seen this before, right, with like Hina and a few other cards. This is opponent's turn. Or the effect is on your opponent's turn. If you have 10 Dawn cards on your field, this character gains plus 1,000 power. Wow, so this is a 5-cost 7k blocker, realistically, right when you need it to be, in a 1k counter. And in this kind of deck, where it's a Straw Hat Crew character, you know, where you're going to be running it with the Luffy we already looked at, this is probably, you're going to be getting to 10 Dawn probably around turn 4 or 5 every game. You know, yeah. Well, probably turn 4 every game, and maybe 5, even on the odd curve. Because, you know, typically you don't get to 10 Dawn on the odd curve until turn 6, right? Because it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then on your 6th turn. So, yeah, very nice. Oh, as far as what I'd rate this, I would give this like a 7.5 out of 10. Because a 5-cost 7k blocker is just really excellent. And it's a 1k counter in hand. This is just fine. So, yeah. Zorro Juro. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple Straw Hat Crew character with the effect of, when attacking, if you have 3 or less life cards, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as active. Okay, another way to ramp Dawn, right? So if you're on, if you go, you know, whatever you went turn 1, if you're on the play, like where you go first, you're on the odd curve, turn 1, play whatever. Turn 2, you can play Zorro here, and I think you can still ramp a Dawn from your leader's effect, if I'm not mistaken. So that will put you at 4 if you went first, I'm saying. Then you go to 6, use your leader's effect to go 7, use this Zorro's effect to go to 8, and then you can get to 10 on turn 4 even if you're going first. So, okay, so yeah, so there's definitely going to be cards to ramp you up to get to 10 Dawn as early as turn 4, even when you're going first, right? Where you'll be on 10 Dawn and they're like going into 8 Dawn, right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'll try to figure out the math in my head later. But this seems very powerful. And the card itself is just a 3-cost 4k, so you do have to invest a Dawn into doing what you're trying to do, you know, or I don't know, unless they're like an aggro deck where they have characters turned sideways, then you can just take them out and ramp Dawn simultaneously. But yeah, I'm going to give this card like a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's bad, but I also don't think it's just insane. We'll go 6 out of 10 with this one. Okay, yeah, that was Jinbei. Okay, next up is Chapa Iman. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple animal Straw Hat Crew character. With the effect of, on play, if you have 8 or more Dawn, okay, I'm starting to see a pattern, right? When you have 8 or more Dawn or 10 Dawn, right? This super high Dawn count. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, set up to one of your purple Straw Hat Crew type characters with 6,000 power or less as active. Well, that's really interesting with the Zorro we just saw, right? Like, if you're going to be able to get down to 3 life cards, which is easy to do, right? Because, like I said, if you go first, hang on. If you go first, you're at 1 Dawn, right? Pass the turn. Turn 2, you're at 3 Dawn. You play this Zorro, go down to 4 life with your leader's effect, and go up a Dawn. And then the next turn, you could use the effect again if you need to go down to 3 Dawn, or down to 3 life, excuse me. And then you can swing with this guy to start getting the effect. And furthermore, from there on, you can actually untap or unrest, set your characters active, set your Zorros active to ramp Dawn even faster. That's interesting. That is very interesting. And this sets it as active, so you could potentially do some really crazy stuff with that. That's very cool. We're going to have some, I think we're probably going to see a lot of pretty hyper-aggressive ramp decks in OP-05. Maybe not. We'll see. It might be a little janky. It might not be consistent enough. But a card like this definitely allows us to go in that direction. I think this card's cool. It is a little bit combo-y, a little janky, like I said. But I'll still give it a 6.5 out of 10. Because it's just 1k off being a vanilla card, and then it has this potentially very powerful on-play effect. So yeah, very nice. Very solid. Okay, let's go next. Trafalgar Law, 3 costs, 5,000 power. Purple Heart Pirates character with the effect of, when attacking, if your opponent has more Dawn cards on their field than you, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Heart Pirates type card, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so remember, Trafalgar Law, this is geared more towards the red-purple Trafalgar Law leader from the ST10 decks, or the ST10 3 Captains deck. This is, in that deck, your leader is returning a lot of Dawn cards, so this is just helping you get some benefit from being below them, or like from going so far down in Dawn cards, where you're just so far under the curve, you can at least get some kind of value from it. I think this leader's fine for what it does. I'll give this a 7.5 out of 10. It's kind of like Purple's version of the 3-cost 5k power Nami for green film. I think it's just fine for what it does. Sorry if that was a little clumsy, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. And if y'all ever have any questions, please just ask away in the comment section below. Okay, I give this a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, next up we have Frano Soup. This is a 5-cost, 4,000 power, 2,000 counter, purple Straw Hat Crew character that has the effect of Dawn ×1. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards, there's that again, on your field, this character gains Rush. So it's kind of like a 6-cost Rush card, 4K Rush card, well, 5K Rush card, right? It's like a 6-cost, 5,000 power Rusher, you know, when you have 8 or more Dawn cards on the field. And then it sits in your hand as a 2K counter. This is fine. Yeah, this is similar to like a Jozu style card for Whitebeard, right, where it has a conditional rush effect and it sits on a 2K counter, searchable by Straw Hat Crew. Yep, absolutely fine. I would give this like an 8. I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10 for a 2K counter, because I think late in the game, like defensively, you can always just use this as a 2K counter. But if you're late enough in the game where you just need that extra rusher, well, here you go. You just turn this guy sideways, right? Like I said, you just pay 5 and attach 1, so it's like a 6 Dawn character. Swings for 5k. Very nice. Okay, so I'll give this, like I said, an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we have Beppo. This is a 3-cost, 5,000 power, purple Minx Heart Pirates character. No counter, but it has, when attacking, if your opponent has more Dawn cards on their field than you, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. This seems very good for the red-purple Trafalgar Law deck, because remember what that does, and this is of course a Heart Pirates character that would go right in that deck, and it would be completely fine to search up with your new searcher. This card, remember what the leader does though, the red-purple Trafalgar Law leader. This card goes perfectly with that, because it's trying to bottom deck 3,000 power characters on your opponent's side. Well, with this card, when you attack with it, you'll be able to hit 5,000 power characters, right? Because you'll reduce their cost by 2,000, putting them in range of your 3,000 effect. Very nice. It doesn't have a counter, which is unfortunate, but it is a 3-cost 5k, which is really nice. So it kind of balances out for its effect. I would give this about a 7 out of 10, because in the right deck, in the Trafalgar Law Heart Pirates red-purple deck, this card definitely has a spot and is potentially very strong. So, very nice. I'm going to give this a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, we have Honakichi. 4-cost, 6,000 power. Really cool art. I have to say that up front. 4-cost, 6,000 power. I'm already a big fan of that. Purple Straw Hat Crew character. This is Brooke, right? That's just Brooke. Is that what's going on? Honakichi. This is just Brooke. This is Beppo. This is Frankie. Okay, and this was just Chopper. Yeah, okay, I had a feeling. Zorro. I don't know what's with these names. Jinbei is just normal. This is just Sanji. Killer, Robin, Nami. Usopp, is that who this is? Okay, I think y'all tell me if I'm right or wrong about that. I don't know. I kind of just came across that in my mind. Very cool if that is the case. This art is awesome. Really big fan of this art. But let's see what the effect is. On play, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards, okay, we're used to that pattern by now. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Wow. So, I think this goes... I'm pretty sure this goes in the red-purple Trafalgar Law deck. I could be wrong. I'm going to bring up that leader real quick and just check something. Y'all give me just a second. I'll bring it over for y'all to take a look at it as well. Okay, so this is the... Let me make sure we can see this on the... Yeah, so this is the leader we're talking about. And does it hits a 4 or less from... Okay, so activate main once per turn, Dawn -3. place up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck, and play up to one character with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. That seems very good. Like with this guy here that we're just looking at. Sorry, let me move this back over. There we go. Sorry, I had to fix something. This seems very good with this character's on-play effect. Now, I think you probably have to do that Trafalgar Law ability in the order it says, where you place up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck, and then you play the character that costs 4 or less from your hand. But if someone knows the ruling on that, if you could do it the other way around, or if you could choose which way it's done, because it does both, you know, by all means, like I said, you know, if you know the specific ruling on that, that would be good to know. Because if you can choose the order in which that happens, where you play this Brook card here first, minus 2k, 2 characters, and then you bottom deck a 3k or less, that just seems... that seems so good, right? It seems so brutal. And it's a 4-cost 6k. Just very solid. Very nice. It's a 4-cost 6k. It does not have a 1k counter, but it does have a very strong on-play effect. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm crazy, guys. Y'all just ignore everything I just said. It's if you have 8 or more Dawn cards in your field, you have this on-play effect. So realistically, in Trafalgar Law, the red-purple list, you're not going to have... you're not going to have 8 Dawn, like, realistically. It's possible. But, it's like almost like maybe you're making the deck wrong at that point. Or maybe not. Who knows? We'll have to see what the future holds for red-purple Law. We got to see what ends up happening there, what direction it goes. Okay, but anyway, still a very strong card. And I would rate this card probably about a 7 out of 10. It's a 4-cost 6k, which is right on curve, but it does not have a 1k counter. And I don't know, I feel like we haven't seen too much that goes with this power reduction in the purple Luffy deck. Yeah, I don't see any cards, in fact, that go off that. Okay, but either way, decent card. Regardless, I'll give it a 7 out. I'll give this card a 7 out of 10. Very cool card though. Really like the artwork. Maybe I'm biased because of how cool the art is. Okay, we got Miss Doublefinger Zala. This is a 4-cost, 4,000 power, 2,000 counter. I feel like we've seen so many 2k counters in just this one set. Excuse me, for the purple cards. That's interesting. But this is a 4-cost, 4,000 power, purple Baroque Works character. 2,000 counter, like I said. Effect on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck, and rest it. So it has a nice on-play ability to ramp Dawn if needed, and trigger Dawn -1... excuse me, and then you could play this card. So that's interesting. So the trigger is, you know, Dawn -1 to play this card, but then you can on-play trash card for hand to add the Dawn card right back. So interesting little interactions there. I don't really know much about this kind of Baroque Works interaction. I'm just going to give this card a nice 6 out of 10 because it is a 2k. Actually, excuse me, it's a 2k counter. I give it a bare minimum 7 out of 10. Okay, and we'll go with 7 out of 10. Very nice. Okay, next up we have Eustis Captain Kid. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, purple Kid Pirates, 1,000 counter, by the way, character that has blocker, and your turn once per turn. When a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as active. So this is definitely meant for the Eustis Captain Kid leader, because he has the ability to return a Dawn card to go plus, I think he gets plus 2,000 for the turn. And this will let you return it and then play it back. And the same thing with Eustis Kid, the 7-cost character that has, you know, Dawn shenanigans, where it also buffs your leader for an entire, until your next turn with plus 1,000 power. So this is to help mitigate the Dawn loss from that deck, I'm assuming. This seems very good. It's a 5-cost 6k blocker with a 1k counter, and then it also has that added effect. I would rate this like a 9 out of 10. I think this will go in just about any purple deck, because it's not leader specific, and anytime your turn once per turn, when a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck, and you set it as active. So you are getting the additional Dawn. It's coming into play active, where you can sit on it for a Blast Breath next turn. Yeah, I think this card is solid. 9 out of 10. Okay, next up. Mr. 1 Das Bones, or Das Bones. This is a 1 cost, 1000 power, 1000 counter, purple Baroque Works character. With the effect of on your opponent's attack, not turn, on your opponent's attack once per turn, don -1, play up to 1 Baroque Works type character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. I don't know enough about the Baroque Works synergy and interactions there. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Does this have some crazy good interaction that's just going to cheat out a broken card or what? Because this does not look very enticing to me. Like, oh man, I really want to build a deck around this. No, I don't see the value in it. But again, if y'all know a combo that I don't know about, by all means mention it so we can all learn together. But as is, it's a 1 cost 1K that has the ability to on opponent, well, I guess the idea is this. I'll try to be positive about it. On your opponent's attack once per turn, you can return a Dawn card to get some, benefits every turn. And you don't have to tap the card down. You're just returning 1 Dawn card to your Dawn deck every turn. So you could potentially get, lots and lots of value from this card. Maybe you'll run like a 3 cost 5K vanilla card that will, that you can throw into play, but I don't know if that exists for Baroque Works. Someone will have to tell me. But overall, I think the card has some value, but it's not really it's not super interesting to me. I'm not going to lie. So I'm just going to give this card a nice 5.5 out of 10. A little better than average, because if it's not dealt with, it could potentially become a problem. Okay, 5.5 out of 10. Did I rate the last card? Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay, next up, we have when you're at sea, you fight against pirates. Okay. This is a 1 cost purple Land of Wano event. That's interesting. Look at 3 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew, Kid Pirates, or Heart Pirates type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then trigger activate this card's main effect. I was wondering if they were going to do something like this when they showed the Heart Pirates, the Kid Pirates, and the Straw Hat Crew all in the ST-010 or ST-10 Captain's deck. And here it is. I guess, they answered my question. Because mentally in my mind I had this question. They answered it. Because it seemed unfair that you had all these cool different tribal allegiances. One's Heart Pirates, one's Kid Pirates, one Straw Hat Crew. When I feel like they all should have just kind of gone together, and then you just built it how you wanted. But this card kind of allows that. This kind of lets you run. With a card like this, maybe you can end up running like this Eustis Captain Kid, and then also Beppo with this Trafalgar Law, something like that. Who knows? I'm just brainstorming, of course. And of course, the stuff that came in the ST10 pack. So I think this is a good card, and I think I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's a 1 cost event search with a trigger to search or, play the card for free. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Solid. Okay, next up we have Gamma Knife. Cool name. 2 cost purple Heart Pirates event with main Dawn -1. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 5,000 power during this turn. That's going to be very nice for the red-purple Law deck we were talking about earlier. And then trigger, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as active. Okay, so the trigger is nice as well. That could help you catch back up to play, have an even better turn the next turn, theoretically. Or you don't have to trigger it, right? You can just take it to hand and just Dawn -1 to -5K, a big character. Because with that effect, so pay 2 and then Dawn -1, and then you can return 3 Dawn cards from your field to your Dawn deck, and then you'll be able to hit an 8K, an 8,000 power character or less with the Gamma Knife plus the red-purple Trafalgar Leader's ability or effect. So I'm gonna go with this as like just a really solid 7 out of 10 for an event card for red-purple Trafalgar Law. Next up we have Punk Rotten. So this is Kid Pirates. Remember, the last one was Heart Pirates. This one's Kid Pirates. This is a 2 cost purple Kid Pirates event with main Dawn -1. Up to one of your Kid Pirates type leader or character cards gains plus 5,000 power during this turn. Well, that's pretty monstrous. And then trigger, we have add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, which was the exact same as this last one. And we've seen this before in purple, right? This is not a new trigger. We have seen this before. Yeah, this Punk Rotten card is pretty interesting. you're paying 2, and then you're returning one of those Dawn cards you just paid 2 with, right? Theoretically, or, you know, realistically. And then one of your dudes is getting plus 5k. One of your heart pirate, or excuse me, one of your kid pirates is getting plus 5,000 power during this turn. That's pretty nice. I mean, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to go with, this is a, let's see. I would give this card like a nice 7 out of 10. I think maybe it's a little better than that, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 at first. Maybe it's even better. Maybe it's worse, but I think 7 out of 10 is pretty safe. Okay, and then we have a secret rare here with Monkey D. Luffy, the 10 cost, 12,000 power, purple, 4 Emperors Straw Hat Crew leader here, or character, rather. And this has an on play of Dawn -10. Okay, now it makes sense. I got to go forward back to the leader here. Because when it said if you have 0 or 3 or more Dawn cards on your field, I knew that there had to be something to get to 0. So here it is. Monkey D. Luffy, on play, Dawn -10. Place all of your characters except this character at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then take an extra turn after this one. Then it has another effect here. Activate main once per turn. Pay 1 and add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So, like, theoretically, if you didn't take too much life, you'll be able to do, you'll be able to do the leader's effect and then this as well, right? So, like, let's say, okay, let's say you play this on, let's say you have 1 life left, like, right? Maybe you just go all in an attack here. Or let's just say you have 2. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, let's just say you have at least 1 life left. So you'll play this on turn 10, or when you have 10, when you first get to 10 Dawn, you dunk all of your Dawn cards, and then you take a life away. Whoops, I went the wrong way. You take a life away with this activate main, and you add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Or well, that's, excuse me, sorry, that's what I just said. And then if you have 0 Dawn cards on your field, add up to 1 Dawn card for your Dawn deck and set it as active. Then with that 1 Dawn card that's active, you'll pay 1 to activate his main and go straight to 2. I'm guessing that's kind of the idea, because the next turn you'll be at 4, and you can use this activate main again and go to 5 if you need to. Well, no, you'll definitely be able to do that, right? Excuse me. You'll definitely be able to do that because you'll get an extra turn after this one. Then take an extra turn after this one. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. This is an interesting character. I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to say about this. In card games, I am really not a fan of this effect right here. Take an extra turn after this one. And I can't believe they would make a board clear, or they would make this effect before they'd make a legitimate board clear. Like a low-cost, efficient, effective, practical board clear. Instead, they would make a card like this. That's really wild to me. But again, you know, that's their decision. They're making the game the way they want to. But yeah, that's... Time Warp is what it's called in Magic the Gathering. I'm sure it has all kinds of different names in every card game. But cards like this that allow you to take an extra turn are very easy to abuse. We'll just put it like that. Especially when this card just lets you get all your Dawn back as well. Like the one downside of doing this, Dawn -10, well, you're going to get a bunch of Dawn cards back just by playing this card, just by using its effect, if you have even 1 life left to use with this Luffy. But overall, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Overall, I think this character is very strong, and it's not leader locked, which is very interesting. Not to say it would be good with another leader, but, you know, it could be. You know, who knows? I'm going to give this character a... I think it's potentially broken, right? It could be potentially broken. We'll have to see. But I'll err on the side of caution, and I'll give this card like I'll give it an 8 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. All right, guys, that's it for the purple cards. Purple's never really been my play style. Not that there's anything wrong with it. But out of all these cards, the ones that appealed to me the most was this Jinbei was really, really solid in my opinion. Big fan of this Trafalgar Law Searcher. And I will say that in general, the red-purple Trafalgar Law deck and the cards that it got are very interesting to me, and I can't wait to try those eventually once we get them over here in the West. Same thing, like and same thing with the Eustis Kid cards as well. I don't know why, but that leader was the most interesting to me out of all the ST10 captains. I actually, for some reason, and I think it's the least played as well, by the way, but this was the most interesting leader to me. And I'm sorry, the leader I'm talking about, I'll put it on the screen real quick. Excuse me. Whoops. It's this leader right here. Let me just move this. There we go. It's trying to take it from me. There we go. Sorry, guys. So this is the leader I'm talking about from ST10. It is a leader that has, it's a 5,000 power, 5 life leader. On your turn, if you have 4 or more life cards, give this leader minus 1,000 power. So you're going to want to get down to 3 life as quickly as possible so that on your turn you could swing for 5k. But when you're attacking, you return 1 Dawn card. And, whoops, didn't know it would do that. Or I forgot it would do that. There we go. When attacking, you return a Dawn card, and this leader gets plus 2,000 power during this turn, so it really swings for 6k. I just think that's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting. And then when you combo that with some of the other cards we've seen come out for it, and then with this new, this new card here, I don't know. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'll be really interesting to play. Even if it's not competitive, I think it'll be very interesting. Right, guys, that's about it. Definitely tell me what you think about these, purple. If I missed anything, help me out. And hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe if you don't mind. It really helps me out. And until next time, peace.